Hey y'all, you ever have a family member just get way under your skin? Well, stay tuned because you ain't seen nothing yet. Welcome to The Real Value, where we review, recap, rate, retell, and evaluate all things real, all things watched. On today's episode, we're talking about the new film now available to stream on Shudder. Hashtag not a sponsor. Yet. We're talking about Grafted today. Grafted is a New Zealand film released in 2024, but just now became available in the States in January 2025. It stars Joanna Sun as the main character Wei, along with Jess Hong, whose sidebar here online says she's either 29 or 30. We can't narrow that down. It's like her birth year is like 94 or 95. I'm like, okay. So that's interesting, but I digress. Jared Turner and Eden Hart also star with a few other minor characters as well. Grafted has an 81% in Rotten Tomatoes tomato meter, but not enough users have critiqued it yet, so it doesn't have a rating for their popcorn meter. On Letterboxd, it holds strong with a 3.2 out of 5. So Grafted follows Wei, an intelligent but socially awkward Chinese exchange student who moves to New Zealand to study at a prestigious university in order to continue and finish the work her father started when she was younger. You see, he and Wei were both born with a giant birthmark on their faces, so he spent his entire life in research on skin grafting techniques, trying to heal this so-called flaw that they both had. Wei views her birthmark with disdain and wants nothing more than to overcome what she views as a disfigurement. That is the superficial bit about this movie. The underlying message of beauty is in the eye of the beholder is kind of shoved aside as the standards are set by Wei's chosen friend group, who's actually her cousin Angela's friend group, who are just the more superficial kind of bunch. While her cousin Angela, who was born in New Zealand, has distanced herself from her Chinese heritage, Wei embraces hers, including the ancestor worship of her father. When Wei is selected by her professor as a lab assistant, she's able to use the facilities there to continue her experiments. But soon, she starts to clash with her professor Paul, who tries to steal her research and ideas from her. These, along with several other dark turns in the movie, lead Wei down a path of self-destruction, obsession, and violence. Overall, the film delves into themes of beauty standards, identity, and the lengths that one might go to fit in with a new crowd in a new country in a new culture. Critics have noted its blend of body horror with a punk attitude, drawing comparisons to The Substance. I don't want to give too much away because this movie surprised me with a few twists and turns coming that I did not expect but thoroughly enjoyed. But I do want to briefly talk about the paradoxical plant that is in the center of the movie, the famed corpse flower, which is a real flower that only blooms so often, and when it does, it expels this dead kind of smell like that of a corpse to attract flies and the like for sustenance. It is a carnivorous plant. But the allure of this plant pairs perfectly with the themes in this movie. The duality of beauty and repulsion mirrors Wei's journey into the superficial. The escalating violence in Wei's experiments serves as a metaphor for the self-destruction nature of chasing unattainable goals, where the line between creation and destruction seems to blur. So the corpse flower is the perfect metaphor here. It's stunning, it's rare, and it smells like death. Wei's experiments mirror this duality, chasing beauty, but leaving destruction in her wake. The film also tackles themes of cultural identity and isolation. Again, Wei embraces her Chinese heritage, but her cousin Angela couldn't be less interested, which creates tension between them. Add in Wei's desire to fit into her new environment, and you have a recipe for some serious identity crisis. So, what is the real value of 2024/2025's Grafted, now available to stream on Shudder? Again, hashtag not a sponsor. Grafted, in my humble opinion, is real great. I had a good time watching this flick and find myself with my mouth agape several times. The twists and turns aren't monumental, but they definitely kept me guessing as to how the flick would end, and surprised me nonetheless. I definitely would suggest it to fans of movies like The Substance. It's nowhere near that amount of body horror, but it still will surprise you. On the Scaredy Cal Scale, I give it a solid 2 Scaredy Cows. Remember, a low Scaredy Cal score doesn't mean it's a bad movie, it just means I didn't think it was particularly scary. But it has some jump scares, it has the body horror elements, and again, the surprising twists and turns and directions it took surprised me immensely. Overall, I enjoyed 2024-2025's Grafted. Okay, that's all for today, folks. Remember to be nice to each other, and if you can't do that, at least don't be a dick. Or you might end up a little grafted yourself. See the movie, you know what we're talking about. All right. Peace.